James, we appreciate the time, my friend. How are you? Appreciate you being with us.
I'm doing lovely. How about you?
Yeah,
Thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks for being on here, man. Real simple, James. Where do you think the defense made the biggest improvement that allows you guys as a unit to play so much better against L.A. than you did against San Francisco?
We were accountable for our mistakes that we made when we faced San Fran. We came in, we were honest. We watched the film, tried to correct our mistakes throughout the week. I'm trying to hone in on what LA did, and we just went out there and executed.
What are those film sessions like with Joe Judge, with your coaching staff during the week after a game like that? You talk about being honest. I got to imagine that requires players to be accepting of criticism and not taking it personally and just realizing you're trying to get better at your craft, right?
Yeah, I mean, as a professional athlete, you naturally have an ego because, you think you're the best at what you do. You got to have that level of confidence in yourself to be able to perform on Sundays. But they're honest, you got to put your pride to the side, and you got to be coachable. I feel like that's what kind of leads to success in this league is being coachable and being able to correct your mistakes.
And you also have a defensive coordinator in Patrick Graham, James, that's not shy about changing how you guys go about things each week. You watch your defense on tape 1 week to the next. You're doing a lot of different things back there in the secondary. I thought against L.A. you played a lot of zone. You had two safeties deep much of the game. You kept everything in front of you. I think the Rams only had one play of 20 or more yards, something that they were really good at heading into that game. What part of it do you think the scheme played and how you guys approached the Rams had to do with your success?
Well, it starts at the top, with our coaches. Of course, they come in, they watch a lot of film, they put together a game plan through the week, and that's where it starts at. The coaches got to put together a game plan, and then us as players, we take that game plan and we practice, and then we have to execute when it comes to Sunday. So it's very important.
When you do change your tactics from week to week, does that put a little bit more pressure on the players to make sure you're on your P's and Q's? Because maybe from 1 week to the next, based on the opponent, you're not doing the same exact things.
Not necessarily. I feel like as a defensive player, you really got to be versatile and adapt. You got to be able to adapt on the fly. That's within the game. That's within the meeting room when you're learning a new scheme for the week. So being versatile, being adaptive, that's what we got to make that an importance for us as a DB or as a defensive group in general.
And how, as a veteran, have you kind of helped your group along in that regard this year, James? You've had a lot of new cornerbacks coming in and out of that room since you guys showed up for training camp in August. How have you tried to help the coaches, getting these guys, in the mix, understanding their responsibilities and the scheme week to week?
Well, honestly, I'm really more listening than speaking because I'm new to this system. I'm new to this team. So I'm really just trying to learn. And trying to see how Coach Pat and Coach Rome, they go about coaching us throughout week to week, like you said, because it changes. But I have to commend Nate Ebner and Logan Ron because, these guys played in this type of system before. And they've been in the league a while, too, so they have a lot of experience. So they've been able to help me, too, with learning different schemes and how offenses are going to try to attack us based off their experience.
Yeah, you mentioned Nate and Logan. Logan got here late. He wasn't in here from the start of camp. But he's such a vocal guy. He's such a smart player. How has he helped the secondary as a whole in just kind of being able to execute these schemes? Because, as you mentioned earlier, he's such a versatile player that can do so many different things.
For sure. I mean, coming in, he plays everything. He's played corner, nickel, safety, so he's seen it from every different angle. So when he comes in and we're on practice and we're practicing a certain coverage and we played a certain way on one day, we might change it the next day because he might see it a different way and then it might work out better that way. So him just having that past experience and him being able to break down the defense to us and how we should play certain calls has been very key for us.
Now that you've been in this game for a couple months in person and longer than obviously doing the Zoom calls in the offseason, how would you describe Patrick Graham's defense as someone that's been in other systems before?
I would say, it's versatile. Like you said, we switch it up. We can be aggressive. He has players for that. We have the players for that. Or we can I wouldn't say it's conservative, but you try to take away what certain offenses like to do. LA, they're an explosive team. They try to take shots down the field. You don't want to line up and be aggressive all day because then you just open up the downfield throws. So like you said, we play a little mix a little zone in there. So it's just versatile, I would say.
How does the strength and power of your front, the Dexter Lawrence, Dalvin Tomlinson, Leonard Williams, and their ability to not stop the run on their own, but at least do it without having a lot of safety help up there in the box, allow you to play the types of defenses that you did last week, and really give you flexibility to do whatever it takes in the second inning when you know those guys in the middle up front can take care of their business?
Like you said, it takes pressure off us. When you don't have to stack the box with safeties and for the run support, it allows us to have more defenders on the back end. So those guys doing what they do on the front end, it's not overlooked. I know at least for us on the back end, we don't overlook it. We know how critical and important those guys up front are for our success. So I appreciate those boys.
Giants fans get a New York Giants checking account from Investors Bank with a Giants-branded debit card, security features, and discounts at the Giants online shop. You can earn up to $250 when you open an account. Visit investorsbank.com/Giants, member FDIC. We're joined by Giants cornerback James Bradberry. I referenced it earlier. You've had a lot of different guys lining up on the opposite side of you, James. What has it been like trying to get those guys accustomed, and just what has it been like having so many different guys kind of come in and out? And, 1 week Corey Ballantyne has a lot of stops. Then it's Isaac Yadam. Ryan Lewis last week stepped in and played a major role. Just having so many different guys out there with you in the secondary over the course of the year.
Well, I like to first commend their attitude because, no matter who's out there, the guy on the sideline is looking out for him and trying to help him out when he comes to the sideline when the offense is on the field. They're telling them what they see from the sideline. And also when we watch film, I know a couple guys who watched film yesterday in the building, and we was just coaching through film, because we don't know who's going to be out there. But, of course, it's been a lot, but they've handled it very well.
You mentioned how you were still learning a little bit from Logan Ryan, from Nate Ebner. You haven't been in this defense for that long. What's your comfort level right now in terms of what Patrick Graham's asking you guys to do week in, week out?
I'm very comfortable, I don't think if I was uncomfortable, I think PG, he'd be willing to change things around. But, like I said, I feel like I can adapt to any scheme. I feel like I'm versatile too. I can play zone, I can play man. I feel like I can do it all. So whatever a coach wants us to do throughout the week, on Sunday, on game day, I feel like I can get it done.
And you could tell watching the games, James, to be quite honest with you. You lead the league in passes defended. You play the ball in the air extremely well. You're getting the hand on the ball an awful lot. Why do you think you've been able to have the type of production you've had early in this season, just being on top of that ball all the time?
I think it's first because, coaches, they put together a good game plan for us going into the week. And then we practice hard. We try to make sure we hone in and focus throughout the week. And then when we get to game day, it's just about executing and about doing whatever you practice. Practice make perfect, or whatever the saying is. But just practicing a lot, having experience from the past, and of course the front seven. I always got to give credit to the guys up front. They help us and allow us to do what we do on the back end.
James, something you talked about when you signed here is how you kind of take pride in going up against some of the best wide receivers in the game. You did it when you were in the NFC South with the Michael Thomases and the Julio Jones and guys like that. You did a great job against Allen Robinson earlier this year. Well, you got three guys that are pretty good. You're facing the Cowboys. Give me the James Bradberry scouting report on Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, and CeeDee Lamb, three of the guys you might see at different points in time in the game on Sunday.
I'm going to keep it short and simple. I know they're explosive offense. Like you said, they have a lot of firepower with CeeDee Lamb, with Gallup, Amari Cooper. Any one of those guys can take the ball over top and lead to an explosive pass or a touchdown. It's going to take a group effort. Like you said, those are three receivers, and that's not even mentioning the running back in the backfield, Ezekiel Elliott, and then Dak Prescott. So they have an explosive offense all the way around. It's going to take a group effort to get the job done.
Without giving away the tricks in the trade and your approach before the game starts, do you adjust your approach based on which one of those guys you're lining up, based on their strengths, your strengths, their weaknesses, et cetera, where they're lined up? Is that really a mental exercise for you where you have to adjust your approach based on all those different factors on any given play?
I wouldn't say you adjust your approach. You study film and you try to pick up on tendencies and try to pick up on how offenses try to use a certain player and how they're used in a certain formation or certain situation on the field. And then you go from there. You use what you studied and you try to apply it on the field and believe what you see.
I'm sure you had a chance to play against those Mike McCarthy teams in Green Bay. Is this more a Mike McCarthy offense, or is this more kind of a hybrid between what McCarthy did in Green Bay and what Dallas has kind of done down there for the past few years?
I think it's a combination of both. I know from my past experience, what I'm thinking, you wouldn't want to change up the whole offense for a guy that's been starting for 4 years.
Of course.
So they have some similarities to what they ran last year, but I think it's a combination of both.
Finally, James, last question. You're going to have a chance to play in front of fans for the first time this week. How about that? Are you guys a little excited for that? I know they're not going to be cheering for Big Blue, at least not most of them, but is it just fun to kind of have that energy in the building and play in front of fans for the first time?
Yeah, I'm curious to see like how many fans they allow in the stadium. I'm not sure the number, and I'm curious to see because this is my first time playing in Jerry's World, Dallas, the Cowboys Stadium. So I'm curious to see what the stadium's like because all I hear about how crazy and amazing it is. So it's a trip I'm looking forward to all around.